Hello, everybody. I wanted to share with you my story of how I got into DevOps. That was almost 8 years ago now. Hopefully, some of these experiences will help you figure out what we're trying to do, how you're going about finding your DevOps job. Um, some of them are obviously specific to my situation, but some of them are actually might be helpful. So let's get started. Back then, I already had maybe 18, 19 years of experience in IT. I had done level one support, PC support, level two support, application level support, level two. I had management experience. At one point, I had managed 21 people at one time, even though that was for a short time. But I did manage a team of 16 people for a long while. But then I switched to an independent contributor role, but at a management level. I had lots of Unix experience. I had lots of experience supporting technical things and supporting applications and networks and whatnot. So I did have those backgrounds. But big mistake was going into an IC role that was of type management. It is okay to go between the IC role and management role as long as the IC role is heavily technical. For whatever role that is, might be architect, might be something else, but it has to be technical if you're going to get ahead. That is, but my mistake was I was doing a IC role that was service management, and I had no direct reports, and it was not technical, right? That was the mistake. So by the time I started looking for another job, I found myself um, not finding anything. I first looked for management jobs, didn't find anything. Then I opened myself up for all of in America, but still got nothing. So I was stuck. I couldn't go anywhere, but I also didn't like my job at the time. So I tried reinventing myself. So I did my research and figured out back then Hadoop and big data was kind of in hot demand. By the way, you can do this by just sorting through number of keywords in the title of jobs that you find on LinkedIn, and just kind of looking for frequency of words. You can figure out what's in demand. So when I did that, Hadoop and big data came up big. So I started learning those. I even took a course. I spent money learning that. So I did that, but I still didn't get any interviews. So by this time, it's been already 9, 10 months, probably longer, and I was still unhappy at my current job. So because I was doing Hadoop, I went ahead and took the Cloudera certification exam, and it was a hard exam. I barely passed. I think I passed. If I had missed maybe two or so questions, I would have failed. There was several Java questions in there, maybe five or six of them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So in December of 2015, I think. Anyway, I passed the Cloudera certification. That got me messages in my inbox and interviews with recruiters. So notice before the certification, I didn't get any interviews. So at that point, my brother gave me an advice saying, based on your experience, DevOps might be something that something you should look into. So I started looking into that, and I started learning cloud. Back then, AWS was kind of new. It's been around for 3, 4 years at that time, but it was becoming um, a needed skill set for DevOps. So I started learning AWS, but I sucked. I sucked really, really bad because I didn't really have any truly true DevOps experience at that time. But I took lots of interviews. In fact, so every time I took an interview, um, I would suck. I would miss 70, 60% of the questions. I would have to say, I don't know over and over and over again. But then I would write down all the questions that they asked me, and I would study up on those topics, and I would try to broaden myself about this. I wanted to know all about the topic that they asked me, right? So after a while, what would start happening is I would start getting more and more answers correct, right? I still wasn't all that great, but at least in during the interview, I could answer maybe 70, 75% of the questions. So anyhow, After about 35 interviews with 15 plus companies and about over a year of looking, I finally got finally got an offer from Disney for an 18-month contract, but I would have to move to LA from where I was. So that's the first job offer I got, and there was some luck involved too. And by the way, that job required DevOps and Hadoop, so that was a lucky match between my skill set and at least what I could prove during the interview, and what that project needed. So that was a good match, but it took over a year, 35 interviews with 15 different companies, and then even then it was it was a contract job, and it required moving to a different city, bigger city. Um, the title had senior in it, senior DevOps engineer, but the job really was not. It was more like a mid-level kind of job, but it had a senior title. During the interview, I got lucky because my hiring manager um, was sick, so he had given that spot to another hiring manager who happened to be a much more gentler interviewer than my hiring manager would have been. So that was good luck, and also my tech lead took the interview as well, but he didn't get to ask me all the questions that he wanted to ask because the manager during the interview asked most of the questions. So uh, whatever gaps I had in my skill sets, they didn't become prominent during the interview, and that's how I got my first offer, contract job as a DevOps. So anyway, so fortunately, in that role, my team lead was very patient. He taught me a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't know. He gave me a lot of leeways and time to learn things, and he would teach me all the proprietary knowledge stuff that they had, domain knowledge. He taught me Chef. He taught me some of the big data stuff. He taught me a lot of the Git stuff. So I ended up succeeding in that role. And so that was a lucky shot. So just to summarize, I got my first job offer. It was a contract job after 35 interviews, 35 and more probably, with real interviews, not just recruiter interviews, and with 15 companies. That's how long it took because I was not good at the kind of job that I was going for, right? But the point I'm trying to make is don't give up, keep trying. Every interview is a shot, and every interview is one step closer to the job that you're eventually going to get. You may have to settle for a contract job or whatever, something like that, but you're going to get there. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. That helps me with YouTube's algorithm. I really appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.